One of the things that you're seeing is not only with keto, but you're seeing these guys in Silicon Valley that they're fasting. Granted, they're going to like Burger King, McDonald's and like afterwards, but the reason they're fasting is because of the cognitive benefit.
Cognitively, I've just seen just massive changes, right? And like, not only do this show talks a lot with people in the keto space, but we deal a lot with entrepreneurs, influencers, people kind of like working. How has keto or even fasting just worked for you? And like, what do you suggest that as like kind of like a staple? I advocate it as much as I humanly can. Like, it's everyone in our office either fast for 16 at least or does keto, right? And like, it's a pretty high performing office, right?
Of course, absolutely. You guys are crushing it. And one of the things that you're seeing is not only with keto, but you're seeing these guys in Silicon Valley that they're fasting. Granted, they're going to like Burger King, McDonald's and like afterwards, but the reason they're fasting is because of the cognitive benefit. And that cognitive benefit is because they're getting an elevation in ketones, which are fueling the brain. And so, yes, I'm a huge fan of intermittent fasting. For me, it's been an absolute game changer. Traveling, speaking, doing all these, when I need to like get down and write something or I'm recording videos, like I need to fast because I need to be at my A game cognitively. Mm-hmm. Like even on the weekends when I have breakfast, like I'm like lethargic after, even if it's a keto meal, I'm like, I don't feel as good cognitively. So I think it's a staple. The only thing I caution people is like, especially females, a lot of times people will take it to the extreme and like, it's like, cool, well, let's push this to like 24, 30, 48, 60 hours. And it's like, if your goal is to gain muscle or maintain that muscle mass, you just need to be careful with it. And the one thing I worry is like females tend to take it to the extreme because they're trying to lose weight, and it's important, and there's a lot of benefits, but then they start seeing hair loss and all these different things. So they just need to keep it in context. Like a 12 to 16 hour fast is perfect, but no need to push it to 72 hours every single week and like having these crazy like yo-yos. So.
Yeah, my wife fasts 4 to 5 times a week, 12 hours.
It's perfect.
And then breaks her fast with a little bit of fruit. She doesn't do keto or anything like that. And you know, she's in pretty decent shape. Always cognitively, she's active and all those kinds of things. Yeah, man, I think just doing keto, and I think that's the biggest thing in fasting as well. Like you said, even if I eat celery or whatever, if I just start to chew, I'm like, well, I guess today's gone. You know, you just feel it. That's the thing that scares me from like having breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm like, ooh, I can't do that. You know, I'd rather have like almost like a back-to-back meal at night, just because like I gotta, till noon at least, I gotta like perform, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I know that you work with a lot of very, very high performers. I don't know if we can like name them or whatever, but like people like Tony Robbins, the millions and millions of athletes, not millions, but hundreds of athletes. What are some of the regimens that you put them through for extreme performance?
Yeah, a lot of them, there's commonalities amongst all of them, right? And ultimately it's goal dependent. So we have some athletes that come in that need to put on a ton of mass. They need to gain weight. Like sometimes we won't use a ketogenic approach for those guys. Like they will eat what their metabolism's burning so fast. We just need to put fuel inside of them to try and put on mass so that way they can go perform on Sundays. Things like that, but it's all individualized. A common theme with all of them is they're eating whole foods as a majority of their diet, meaning that like they're getting good high quality, in most cases grass fed, and like some of these things. They do some type of fasting, which is important. They're active, they're physically active, meaning that not only are they just like active, they're resistance training, which I think is an essential piece to the entire thing, but all of them, it's very different and context dependent upon what their goal is. What's their outcome? Are they trying to just lose weight, prevent themselves from sarcopenia or age-related muscle loss, or are they trying to put on a ton of mass and be able to perform so we can watch them on TV one day?
Yeah. So we've talked about entrepreneurs, we've talked a little bit about super high performers. Let's take it back to like my mom, right? Because we have a lot of people that watch that are my mom's age, my mom's demo. What do you suggest for them? Because you know, one of the big things we've seen is just a lot of confusion, and a lot of confusion in the most simplest of things. So if you were to explain to my mom or to someone's mom like that, the keto diet, or how to live in a balanced way, what would you say?
Well, this is great because I've actually had to do this for my own mom as well. So my mom actually has Crohn's. So one of the things that I said, you know what, you're gonna be my guinea pig. I love you to death, but I want to try something on you. And it really allowed me to try and figure out, okay, there's all this science and complexity, but how do I bring it down to simple terms so my mom can understand it, or my aunt, or my grandpa, whoever. One of the things that she had already started doing was, a lot of times words trigger emotion, thoughts, and those thoughts trigger certain emotions. So the concept of fasting for some people like turns them off. They're like, I'm gonna waste away. What are you thinking? Like, there's no way I can give up breakfast. So I said, oh, you know what? We're not gonna do intermittent fasting. We're gonna do intermittent eating. And she's like, okay, I'm interested. And I'm like, okay, all right, now we got somewhere. So it's the same concept, but I just switched the terminology. It's like, cool, let's use intermittent eating. You're gonna eat between these time periods. And she's like, I could do that. I'm like, you're fasting. Like, no, she just thought it was intermittent eating. And so I thought that was a staple for them, is like condense the time period in which you're eating. Unfortunately, most people today have access to food all the time. So it's like little snack here, little snack here, little snack. Those things add up. So that was a staple for her. The other thing, I was like, you know what? Let's lower your carbohydrate. Don't even mention keto, but let's lower your carbohydrate intake and find swaps. She's Italian, so she loves like cooking pasta and meatballs. I'm like, great, let's cook the meatballs, but like, let's use a different type of, rather than use like regular spaghetti, let's use an alternative. And we use an alternative, and she's like, okay, like I can eat this. And so like that was the first step. And then the real home run for me when I was working with her was, you know what? How do we incorporate exercise? And so one of the things was like, she was walking a little bit each day, and I don't say that everyone has to do this, but I actually ended up going out and I rescued a dog. And so I was like, you know what, now you got a grandson and he needs to walk. so now she takes walks with him, like, and she's more active now, and now that's encouraged her to go on walks even when she doesn't have them. So it's just, that's the ultimate home run, is like a little bit of exercise. Sometimes we get intimidated by the resistance training and the equipment. I promise you, like a 10 to 15 minute walk after each one of your meals is an absolute game changer. It'll lower your glucose, lower your insulin levels. And if you don't have time for 10 to 15 minute walks after your meals, like, you got to figure out priorities in life. Because I don't know anyone. We work with some of the busiest people in the world. Everyone has 10 to 15 minutes to take a walk.
Yeah.